Hey, good evening. Chad, I'm sorry, we good? Thank you, sir. Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. There are agendas on the table near the entrance or online at the city's website. Consent agenda items are routine items which are voted on in one motion and vote. Unfinished or new business items are voted on separately. Councilors will be given the opportunity for questions or comments, followed by citizens who must speak at the podium and identify themselves. Citizens will be allowed to speak one time per agenda item for up to 3 minutes. Citizens who do wish to speak on a topic that does not appear on tonight's agenda will have the opportunity to do so during public comment section of the agenda for up to 3 minutes. Okay, first up, let us pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up is disclosure of conflict of interest. Any counselors have any conflict of interest on any of the agenda items on the votes that they will take this evening? Okay, seeing none. At this point, we do have a couple of executive sessions items to discuss. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session for labor negotiations 1 MRS 4056-D and consultations with legal counsel 1 MRS 4056E.
So moved.
All those in favor? All right, awesome. Thank you very much, folks. We will be back as soon as we possibly can. Thank you. Can I get a motion to come out of executive session, please?
Motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, next up on the item, on the agenda for this evening is a discussion item with regards to some charter amendments. So let's kick that off. Cornell, I'll kick
Well,
that.
the first one
Microphone.
was the city manager residency.
Microphone.
First one was the city manager residency in the charter requires the city manager to be a resident of the city while in office. And during your last two reviews, the consultant Don Garish, who's here this evening, mentioned that it might help if that requirement were relaxed to allow the manager to reside outside the city with permission of the council. So that would require a vote of the people in November, and so it's on the agenda to have a discussion about making that a question for the warrant. And I can say personally, while I was a manager for 40 years in 6 communities, I was a resident of the communities I worked in 3, and 3 I was a non-resident and commuted to the community.
Don, you are here this evening. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Council. I've had the pleasure of working with you on 2 manager searches, and I have done manager searches for the last 15 years. I've done over 70 in the last 15 years. And the issue of a manager living in the community, I will tell you, in past, I would say the manager usually did live in the community where they were manager. But things have changed, times have changed, cost of housing has changed, people want to move, it becomes an issue now. And I did a research of the top 30 communities population-wise in the state, and only 2 have residency requirements, Waterville and Augusta. And I'm not here to tell you that you will definitely get somebody better if you put this in your charter, but it gives you the opportunity to get candidates that may live a short distance, 10 miles away. And 2 examples, one major example, I helped the city of South Portland hire a manager a number of years ago. They had the option in their charter whether to mandate that the managers live in South Portland or not, and they put that in the ad. We got back then, I don't know, 20 applications. We got no one from the state of Maine applied for that job, on one of the better jobs in the state. We went through the process, weren't successful. I talked to the council about, let's make a change and say that you prefer they live in the community, but you didn't have to with permission from the council. We got 8 excellent candidates from the state of Maine. They hired a manager who lives in Reedfield and commutes to South Portland. That was 10 years ago. So I just think it would give the community the opportunity to see what's out there. The decision would rest with the council to make that decision. And some communities who allow it in a contract with the manager puts limits on how far away they can live if they want to live outside the community. So I think it's something that the wording that I saw that you were recommending is probably in almost every of the major cities I looked at. They live in the community unless given permission by the elected body. So I think, as Cornell said, I worked in a number of communities. I lived in the communities, but that was 20 years ago, so things have changed over time. And the other issue that comes up many times is if a manager lives outside, a candidate lives outside, and their spouse works, their kids are in the school system, trying to move, they don't want to do that, but they may be an excellent candidate. So I think it's a good recommendation for the citizens. You still control it because the council makes the decision. So I think it's something that hopefully would help you in the future. No guarantees, but it gives you more options. So I can answer any questions of my work. I've done this over the 15 years I've done. So any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay. Any of the council discussion with regard to thoughts on the residency, moving that forward? I think we had some language. I know we looked at it, and I thought we asked, did it get updated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the underline says the city manager need not be a resident of the city or the state of Maine at the time of appointment, but may reside outside the city while in office, only with the approval of the council.
Right, which, Councilor Green?
So I think this wording gives us a lot of flexibility. It makes it clear that the preference is for the person to live in the city. And yet, if we find that there are some circumstances which are compelling and we want to hire this person, then we also have the leeway to do that. I think it's time to put this forward and let the citizens decide and give us, hopefully, a broader selection of candidates and so that we can hire someone and get on with it.
Is there anybody in the council that disagrees with this, trying to put this together, or like any thoughts with regard to that, or Councilor Hurd?
I don't, sorry, I don't disagree, but I feel like as I'm reading it, it almost sounds too broad that it says at the time of appointment, they don't have to live in the state. Like, so if we appoint them, were we going to give them a timeline, and does that have to be in the charter, or is that separate? I guess that's where I'm confused, like how much has to be in the charter as far as the requirement goes?
Yeah, when I hear that, when I read that, I hear like we hire someone from Ohio, right? Like, so we could appoint them, like they could hire the job, and then, we would give them, obviously they wouldn't have to move sooner rather than later, but to become to buy a house here, like I think we gave Brian a period of time.
Give him 6 months.
Yeah, so like technically he could have lived wherever he was living prior to getting the job here.
I think
he
it was
would have
6
to
months.
move here or buy a house within the 6-month period of time. So obviously I don't think we're going to allow them to live out of the state, but and that, I'm sure we can have that. Is that the way that was written? They have to live in this, at least live in the state, right? Like let's be clear about that. So.
Right, so what you're saying is that would be part of the negotiation, correct? Like, that's just where I want to be clear, is that, if we put something in writing, I just
Yeah.
want to be sure that we have, because also, like, I think I've expressed too that I think I appreciate, either way is fine with me. I see pros and cons to both. But I think a certain mile radius is fair too. Like, that's the other piece for me. And again, I suppose that would be part of our negotiation, correct? Like, this is just more broad in the charter, right, to give us more flexibility.
And again, it's contingent on whether the citizens of Waterville vote for it. So,
Right, exactly.
I mean, they might not, and here we are.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? Is this what
Back
they'll
at it.
see to vote on?
Yeah.
So, okay, so yeah, that's the other piece here, is like, I want to make sure they understand what they're reading
Right.
on a ballot as
Yep.
well. Yeah.
Phil, did you?
To answer Councilor Gerard's concern, whether it's a mile radius, whether it's within the city, would be something that's negotiated as part of the contract. And it also involves time, because realistically, somebody's not going to be able to necessarily have a residence in the city of Waterville on day one. On the other hand, if we have a candidate who lives 15, 20 miles away from here, who's good, and if we're telling them they have to sell their house, take their children out of school, move them here to Waterville for a 20 or 25-minute commute, we're not going to get that candidate. And this, on the other hand, the circumstances could be different. It's somebody from out of state, and this amendment will allow us to treat each situation according to the facts that are presented to us. And that gives the council the ultimate say, and I think maximizes the chance of getting the best candidate possible.
I agree.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I almost feel like there should be something in there that says that actually it's a situational based on, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, again, I'm kind of looking at it from the point of view of a voter. Like, when they read this, I want them to be very clear exactly what they're voting on. That's the only question. Like, when I read it, I had to reread it a few times just to make sure, like, I was, trying to read it like, simple, like, really understanding it. So that's all. That's why I bring it up, just to make sure that we're on the same page.
Okay, Don.
Yeah, just a quick point. Some of the contracts that I have seen when you hire a person can be very specific in terms, as your legal counsel said, that you can live within so many miles, so much time, but that's part of the contract that you have. And most contracts says that I've seen them that if you should move, you have to move to the city. You give them authority to live outside, and in the contract, if you ever sell your existing residence, then you have to move. So it gives you a lot of different leeways in a contract that you have with them.
Great, thank you, Don.
Yeah. All right. Council Green.
Just to clarify, though, on next steps, this has to come before, we have to take this up again, approve the language to go on the ballot in November, correct? So if we wanted to create some changes in the language, we could still do that before it comes up at our next meeting.
And even when it comes up at the next meeting, you can change it then.
Right.
It's just that
Right.
when you take your vote, it'll be that language which goes to the voters for approval. And legally, you don't have to send anything to the voters. It has to go through you. You don't have the power to make the final decision.
Right.
You only have the authority to send it to the voters to let them make the decision.
Right.
And you decide the ultimate wording.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next charter amendment discussion item is special elections with one candidate and no declared write-ins. Patty, I think you are a pro at this point. If this,
Hello.
Yeah.
So just to give a little background to this request, we've had 2 special elections in the last year. One did have 2 candidates, but we had a very low turnout. 37 votes were cast in March. This last election, where Mr. Beal was elected, he was the only candidate on the ballot and received 17 votes. So again, a very low turnout, and I had a lot of people come in and question, why do we even have to do this if he's the only person on the ballot? It seems silly. I will say that, the costs, I keep them very low. We do things internally. I can't run it by myself. We're required to have a certain number of people to run an election, even minimally. It requires some overtime costs, printing, and advertising in the newspaper, which is required. So it's a little less than $1,000 to run even an election with 17 votes cast. It requires the same amount of preparation. You have to, get everything ready. I go through a 7-page checklist for even these small elections to get them ready. But the point of the matter is that there is no way that anyone else will be elected. We have, by resolution, adopted sections in Title 21A for write-in votes, which means that anyone who wants to run by write-in needs to declare a write-in candidacy. And that has to be done by state statute 70 days before the election, which timing doesn't coincide with a special election here in Waterville. So if by the time the 40 days before a special election where someone would have to turn in candidate petitions, the time to declare as a write-in has already passed. So we don't count write-in votes unless there's no candidates on the ballot, which we have a provision in here that if there's no qualified candidates, we could count write-in votes if we chose to. But be that as it may, if there's one candidate on the ballot, there's no way that that person will not be elected, and if they cast one vote for themselves. So it seems like a lot of things to go through to get that person seated. It takes a couple of months to get, the timing for the petitions, the absentee balloting period, and then to actually call the election, and then the votes have to be canvassed, and then the person can be sworn in. So there's usually a couple-month turnaround time. If we would allow the provision that I've suggested, that if there's only one person who's qualified for the ballot, that person can automatically be seated at the next council meeting, that they could be declared the winner and seated and sworn. So it would definitely lengthen that time where that ward is not represented.
Reduce the time,
What did I say?
lengthen.
Oh, reduce, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So when I initially proposed this to Bill, he thought it was a wacky, crazy idea, and why would we ever do that? Don't people need to be elected? But, digging in a little further, it seems like it is plausible to do so. So I've proposed it for discussion.
Councilor Harad.
So just a quick question, because, so you said it's 70 days to be declared as a write-in?
Correct.
But 40. So it seems like those numbers should be the other way around. So
Well-
is it's based on the state, I know you said that.
Correct.
But does the city can the city change their policy on write-ins, or no?
We could add a provision to make them coincide with the timing for the petition return. I think that makes more sense than having that provision be prior to the deadline to submit the petitions. That
Yeah,
should
it
be a-
doesn't make-
That should be a fail-safe measure to
Yeah,
to have that opportunity.
I mean, I
Correct.
see what you're suggesting too, given where it currently is, but it makes more sense to me that
Mm-hmm.
folks that, if somebody wanted to be a write-in, they might want to decide that after somebody's declared on the ballot. It seems like
Right.
it's kind of backwards.
Correct. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Councilor Brady.
Right, so if I understand it correctly, then you could just wait and not have to go and get all the signatures. So
Right.
I do agree that we should close that loophole. 'Cause that doesn't seem right.
Yes, Bill.
Patty and I have discussed this at length, and she is persuasive, and there is a cost involved here, and it does produce a period of time without a representative. If there's a counter argument, it would be that if you want to be elected, you ought to be elected. There ought to be an election and actually voted on. And I usually keep my personal view out of things and keep it strictly legal, but we're having a discussion here. I mean, I served on the council for 3 terms, served on the school board for 2 terms, and 3 of those 5 elections, I was unopposed. But I took this, but I knew I had an election coming up. And so I went out and I knocked on doors and I talked to people and I got viewpoints, and then the vote was taken, and of course those votes are relatively small, but I was elected, and and the voters voted, and there is a value in that. Will somebody, if there's just nobody else on the ballot, will they go out and do that sort of thing? I don't know. That I'm just doing sort of a one side and then perhaps an argument on the other side. But from a legal standpoint, I do believe we have the home rule authority to shortcut the process in the manner in which Patty described. We did not give you specific charter language because there are several different charter provisions which would have to be amended, and if we wrote that all out, it would be rather confusing. We just wanted to present a concept to you here tonight and see if the council says leave it as it is, or would you like to make a change as is being proposed?
And just to be clear, the only provision that would change is for this one unicorn scenario, right? Like, so it's just great.
When you get a vacancy
We have one
during-
candidate, we have a vacancy, we have one candidate, there is nobody else that's even qualified for the ballot. At this point, we don't need to wait another period of time for the election to take place. I mean,
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, like, we are a caucus form of nomination, so technically, like, these people, they would have had multiple people vote for this person anyway, if it's the only person on the ballot, regardless whether it was a formal or informal vote, there was still a vote that took place at a caucus to nominate this person that is, in things. So, I mean, there are voters that are involved and so on and so forth. So, I like it. When are we up for a charter review? Because Kathy makes a good point, like, there are some other things that we probably should look at, and I think maybe like during the charter review process would probably be more appropriate to look at something like that.
I think it's 2 or 3 more years.
Okay, yeah, it's coming right up, I figured.
3 more
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
That write-in situation is something that we could probably address through an ordinance rather than through the charter, how we handle write-ins.
Well, that is a discussion for another day.
Maybe not.
We'd have to talk about that.
We'll have to
I'm not
talk
so
about
sure.
that.
So
But
our
that-
basic question to you is,
Yeah.
do you want to leave things the way they are, where you actually have an election? Patty's pointed out some of the issues concerning that. Or would you like to consider adopting or not adopting, but passing a charter amendment to go to the voters, which would allow this, in a situation where you have a vacancy and there's only one candidate on the ballot, only one person whose vote will count, that person will automatically become the counselor upon the affirmative vote of the council itself.
I think that we should leave it the way it is. I mean, there's a sense of pride of being elected to your position, but it also provides, regardless if it's 1 vote or 2 or 100 or 1,000, provides people an opportunity to check that box for who they want their representative to be.
I'm in support of changing it. One, because even though there is only a minor cost to it, it is somewhat still costly, especially if this happened 2 or 3 times in a year for whatever reason, that would add up. But more importantly, during the last gap in time where we were missing a counselor, there were some very important conversations that were going on at that time that having another perspective would have just helped us in the entire situation, either deciding one way or the other, or getting more information. And we were out that counselor primarily due to the fact that just it takes a long time to go through this whole special election process. And we're talking about amending this to be a much shorter time, and so that we won't have a gap in representation for our wards for these potentially very important meetings and discussions.
And, well, Councilor Hardy, did you, okay, sorry, okay.
I do, but
Well, I have to say, I agree with Councilor Kriegbaum, who will be going out this fall and doing an election all over again, canvassing voters in an actual election. I think the cost here is not so much financial as it is the lack of representation, and particularly in Ward 5. Over the past few years, we've had, I think, 3 special elections. I mean, I really do think it's important to shorten the process. One other question I have is, this charter change came in at the last charter review, correct? And the previous method was simple appointment, right? So this is, even if we change, and again, the voters decide, but this is just walking it back a step, but it's not as far back as we had it before.
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
Correct. Good call. That's good.
I was the beneficiary of this last special election, and I followed the rules. I went out, I talked to I had to get 25 signatures, as y'all all know. So that's 25 constituents that were involved. I had an election at the caucus. There was me and another person running. So it seemed, I went out and I talked to people up until the point where I found I didn't have any competition, and then I quit because I had other things to do. And so it seems like it's just common sense to perhaps save the city a little money, save Patty some extra work that she can use doing something else. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and just so I'm clear, like the only thing that's changing is the election, right? So the person that comes out of a caucus would still then collect signatures, turn them in, and at that deadline, then at that point, if no one else has done it, like, so that work and that knocking of the doors and the endorsement of 25 people in the ward would still happen.
Correct.
So it wouldn't be, like, there'd be, not that there's no work that would happen, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I got nominated, I'm just gonna sit back, great, it's gonna, whatever. But, so there will still be some of that takes place. It's just simply waiting that period for the election to take place and for the outcome that we know is inevitable, I mean, at that point, so. Okay. Councilor Haran?
Yeah, just one last thing. I mean, I kind of agree, I guess. I think it's just, I'd like to see us work more on that write-in piece of it, because I think that people should have, it just needs to make better sense as far as timeline goes for someone to be a write-in on a ballot. I completely thought it was, I was educated tonight. I had no idea that it was that way. So, but yeah, I completely agree. I think that, you kind of know, like, if there's a point where you're going to essentially win if you are the only person, as much as I think it's nice to place a vote, I think if I was the person, I might be like, I just want to get started. So yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward that and then maybe focusing on that write-in piece.
Okay.
And to just kind of follow up what everybody's just saying, and I agree with everyone is saying. And also, too, with just special elections, it always follows up with an actual election after that. So it's kind of, they're going to go through that process regardless.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. I think we have some good, motivation for you, right? Like, you get enough to work, do what you need to do. Awesome. All right, moving on to city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
The city will host the Waterville Housing Summit on September 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Green Block and Studios, 18 Main Street. And the brochure says whether you're a current or future developer, a homeowner, or just curious about home improvement opportunities in Waterville, then join us. So you can go to the city's website and register online. It is a free program. There's no Impact Task Force meeting this month. Next meeting will be in September, and I will have an update on the goals of the task force at the next meeting. Nomination petitions are available now for the November 4th municipal election for Wards 3 and Ward 5, City Council and Board of Education, plus 2 seats on the Kennebec Water District trustees. Petitions must be submitted by September 5th. So go to your office, right, Patty? The City Streets and Sidewalks project for 2025 is complete, except for some reseeding along some sections of new curbing. The streets rebuilt and paved included Burley Street, Averill Terrace, Mara Court, and Park Street. Phase 1 of the Quarry Road Trails project is well underway. The larger parking lot area near the yurt has been stripped of loam and cut to subgrade. The contractor is currently installing underdrain and stockpiling gravel and crushed stone. The yurt's been relocated by the Public Works Department to an area just outside the construction footprint. Project is on schedule and with fall completion date of November 15th, 2025. Surface pavement will be done in the spring of 2026. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right, next up, public comment. Anyone in the public wish to make a comment on anything that is not on tonight's agenda?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Any council comments or committee reports this evening from any committee reports or council updates, comments that they would like to make at this point? Seeing none. Okay. Now, anyone from the public wishing to make a comment on anything that is not on tonight's agenda, please may do so now. Anyone online, Patty? All right, very good. With that, can I get a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Can I also get a motion, please, to read by title only?
Motion to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. All right, moving on to old business, Order 149, 2025.
Accept a community paramedicine grant and sign a service agreement between Maine DPS and the city of Waterville.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none. Patty, can I get a roll call, please?
Counselor Gilly?
Yes.
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Krigbaum? Yes. Counselor Beal?
Yes.
Counselor Harard?
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, wonderful. Moving on to Order 150, 2025.
Accept the GOPIF Community Action Grant to add solar panels to the Alpha Municipal Pool Complex and weatherization for the Waterville Regional Airport.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion with regard to this item? Seeing none. Patty, can I get a roll call, please?
Counselor Gilly?
Yes.
Counselor DeBrito?
Yes.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Krigbaum?
Yes.
Counselor Beal?
Yes.
Counselor Harard?
Yes.
Vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to Resolution 152, 2025.
Ratify a collective bargaining agreement for 3 years with AFSCME Council 93 AFL-CIO.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion with regard to this? Okay. Seeing none, I would like to say before we take a vote that I just want to thank, Bobby Joe for working, and, Cornell to working on, getting this together. So thank you for all the work. And with that, can I get all those in favor? Thank you very much. Moving on to Resolution 153, 2025.
Appoint Brian Batchelder as local sealer of weights and measures.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Is Brian here?
I don't think he could be here tonight,
Yeah.
but he's been appointed in prior years.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like the one person. All right. Any questions or concerns with this appointment? All right. Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? No. Okay. All right. Moving on to Resolution 154, 2025.
Authorizing the transfer of an off-track betting facility license to Pioneer Gaming LLC doing business as Favorites.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, I don't see Don here either, so that's fine. All right, any discussion or comments with regard to this?
I'm kind of new to this. I generally don't favor gambling. Is there anyone to talk about what this means, or is this?
This facility, I think I can answer a few questions. This facility has moved a few times in the city since they've been here. We've approached it in different ways based on the administration that we had in place at the time. So we've had resolutions authorizing the transfer of the license to a new location. Then we also had just an agreement with the city manager to move to the new location. So I thought it would be prudent to do it formally through a resolution. They're basically changing their location from on College Avenue, near where the soup kitchen is, I know Carl is here, to this location where the Habitat for Humanity building vacated.
The
So they're
restore, right? The
Restore, yeah, the Restore location. So they're simply moving from one location within the city to another, and they wish to transfer their license.
Have we ever had any kind of issues with,
We have not.
so if we approve this, then we approve the license for alcohol, there'd be another business downtown? They were later on for,
Right, they're asking for a vitriol's license, and they're transferring their liquor license over there as well.
okay, thanks.
Council Green?
Do they currently have a liquor license?
They do.
Do they?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I spoke to Don multiple times throughout this process. You know, he's been trying to find locations to move out of there, and, you know, has finally found a spot that will work for him. He does have, you know, a vision and, you know, to, you know, start off and, you know, bring the OTB over there. You know, again, that with the bar scene, some TVs, things of that nature, maybe possibly adding some food, and just kind of really growing at the grassroots level. So, you know, it sounds like could be another interesting place to go, and whatnot. It's a lot different than what is currently on College Ave now, because what his vision is doing, what he's doing. So, so yeah. But yeah. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none. Patty, can I get a roll call, please? I'm sorry, all those in favor, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Resolution 155, 2025.
Authorizing the issuance of a vitriol's license to Pioneer Gaming LLC doing business as Favorites.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, any further discussion or any discussion with regard to the victualler's license? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? No. Okay. Thank you. All right, Resolution 156, 2025.
Authorizing the permanent 4-day work week schedule.
Move to adopt.
Second.
So last winter, you moved to 4-day, 10-hour days at City Hall, and a provision of that said that you would make it temporary, or it was a trial period, and you would readdress the issue in August. And here we are. So I did ask staff about how they think it's gone, and all the comments have been very positive from staff, and even staff comments that residents tell them that they appreciate it because it gives them more time during the day, because you used to be open 7:30 to 4:30, and now you're open 7 to 5:30. So during their workday, they have a little more flexibility. So residents have passed that along to staff, that it's a benefit. The HR director has said it's a great recruitment and retention tool. And Patty pointed out that all the customer service staff have been there. There hasn't been any turnover in the past year, so that's good. And we've checked out, there's, from what we could find, there's about 45 communities in the state that have 4-day work week now. Almost all are Friday that they have off. One is on a Wednesday, and another one is on a Monday, and all the rest are Friday of the 45 communities. So we're kind of in the same boat as that. And lastly, some comments that I got. I will say that the days sometimes do feel long. I feel that I'm more productive and get things accomplished during those 10 hours. I appreciate the extra day to recharge, and I feel more prepared for the week. So overall, I would say it's been very positive for staff and the public. So I'd recommend you make it permanent.
Do we hear anything negative from the public? I missed out. Did you, or Pat, what would you say?
Not that I got back from staff that they had not received any negative comments.
Wonderful.
I would add to that, that when we have the tax due dates on Friday, and people are coming to pay the taxes and we're closed, we did hear some comments on Monday, gee, I came on Friday and you were closed. We did waive the late fee for the day, and we had the voting box open for people to put their payments in. So I think, later on in the agenda, we do have the
We're solving for
taxation
that.
ordinance,
Yeah.
which would help to create that on a Thursday rather than a Friday, would help alleviate those few, they weren't complaints necessarily, but I would say a little, flip comments.
Sure. Okay. Any comments from the council? Anyone in the public? Anyone online? Looks like good comes. No? Okay. With that, I will ask all those in favor. All right, wonderful. Moving on to Resolution 157, 2025.
Approve use of funds from the downtown TIF for paving the concourse.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Now, after a conversation we had, I believe that...
Yes, could I ask the council to table this item? I heard from the Realtor today, it's not a final deal. There is some issue with the space and tenants. So I would ask that you delay it. Hopefully, we could have it back for the next meeting, when it's clearer about this issue.
So next meeting is good for that, if we make a motion to table to the next meeting, or do you want to do September?
Sure.
Whatever. Okay.
Next meeting's fine.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion with regard to the...
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I'd love to see it happen. So if they need any encouragement from the city council,
Yeah.
you got someone sitting right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. So vote on the table. All those in favor? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Resolution 158, 2025.
Authorize acting city manager to sign extension agreement with Waste Zero Incorporated.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Matt, you want to talk about the, yeah. Yeah.
Happy to. Hello, everyone. I can answer any questions. I think Sarah sent out some additional information regarding the agreement with Waste Zero that should help hopefully answer any questions. It does line up as far as the terms with our solid waste contract with Pine Tree. So if it's something we wanted to consider doing something differently, it gives us time. I think it's a good program overall. We get a lot of positive feedback. It brings in roughly $300,000 per year annually for revenue, and that helps offset operating and labor cost for the, for the trash program that we have. So I think it's a good program.
Yeah. Now, when I read the information that came out, you talked about GLAD and somebody else. So is there do those companies offer programs? I just didn't understand why the context of that, or if we had proactively looked or went out to Waste Zero and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and these were their counters to us making that change, or...
Right, I'm glad you asked for context,
Yeah.
right? So the one complaint that we do get, I won't say frequently, but it does happen from time to time. I think there are batches of bags that aren't to the standard that they should be making them. So there is a number to call for people to get refunds. But so for context, we wanted to compare the mill, which is the thickness of the bag, with Glad and Hefty. Those are common bags that people have heard of. And the mill for the Waste Zero bags is higher in almost all cases. That it's a thicker, more there's more quality in this bag than there is in the Glad or the Hefty bags. Not all of them, because there are tons of different trash bags that you can purchase. The heavy duty construction ones, they're not as thick as that, but they're above, your standard heftier Glad bag.
Any comments, questions from the council? Council Green?
Yeah, so the big difference here is that we pay for the bags up front, and then we get payments directly from the retailers instead of Waste Zero.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And then the cost of the bags is also controlled for the period.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Does that shift add any additional work for you?
No.
Or the city, like just
No,
the?
everything else is the same,
Yeah.
Mayor. Yep.
Okay. So I'm talking about the collection of payment, like from the retailers, is like versus that going to Waste Zero versus that those payments now come to us? Is that what you just said?
No, we have to purchase the bags, get them to the retailers, and then get.
All the revenue will come to the city after we make the
Right.
bulk purchases, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Still anticipate, in the $300,000 range.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. All right, wonderful.
This may have been asked and answered, but and I might have missed it. Does this increase the cost of the purple bags to the Waterville resident?
No, it's still $13 per roll.
Okay.
Yep. That would be up to the city council to consider, though, but it's not part of this. Yeah.
I got a question. Is there going to be a cost saving? No?
No.
Okay, then.
All right, with that, I will ask for all those in favor. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to Resolution 159, 2025.
Approve use of reserve fund for the municipal outdoor pool.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right. All right, Matt, please.
Yeah, so we don't, we lost a pump earlier this year, had to close, which was a shame. The outdoor pool is only open for 9 or 10 weeks a year. Pumps and filters have a shelf life or a, expected life, but that doesn't always work out. Most components to the pool, the main pool itself and the slide pool are 4 or 5 years old, and this pump failed to the main pool. So we really don't want to lose pumps to the feature pools, which is the zero entry area in the main pool and the kiddie pool. And we don't budget for capital items in our operating budget. We budget for utilities, chemicals, things like that, but we don't budget for items like this. So I think these would make us feel much more comfortable in a season that we're going to get through a season without having to close because we have a failed system. $15,000 maximum. We have $150,000 in the reserve now.
And to be clear, what you are hoping to do is to basically just get these parts on site, so in the event that this happens again, we have the ability to swap it out, reduce the downtime to get the part, because I think that was a tough part, right? Was to try to find the plate.
It had to come from Florida, so
Right.
it took that
And then
was
the
the time,
shipping
the shipping.
and
Yeah,
things,
so
yeah.
we would have it at the compound, so we would keep it on the shelf. Correct.
Right. Okay.
I got a question. So what is the warranty? What's the shelf warranty for?
I'm sorry.
What's the warranty for, like, how long does the pump last?
Well, they should last 10 years,
Okay.
based on the load and the environment that they're in. But that, ours failed after 5 years, so it's just hard to tell, Counselor. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You just raised a great question, right? So if we purchase this now, we don't need, we just replaced this, and we don't need this for 7 years. When we put this new one in that we purchased to have on backup, when does the warranty, this warranty starts the day we purchase it, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure on the length of the warranties. Yep. I'd have to
Because
check.
while we're trying to probably do a good thing, and if we have a warranty, and we're trying to say, hey, let's cut it down, the unintended consequence of that is that the one that we put in, because hopefully, knock on wood, this one that we put in will last 5 to 7 years, that this will sit in the compound, and we go to put it in, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work, and then it's not under warranty anymore. Unlikely, I don't know, or if it has a 3-year warranty, and it sits on the shelf for 3 years, are we putting in it with 0 warranty versus buying it new and then getting through? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
It's a great question.
It is a good question. I can't answer it definitively. I wouldn't imagine that they come with a warranty that's more than a year or two.
Yeah.
anyways. But I mean, it's not a bad question, but I still think that with that said, we need to have something on the shelf so we don't have to shut the pool down for, 3 or 5 days. I think we should do it.
So we got a replacement pump and now we have another one. So there are two that were purchased.
Right.
I didn't
Well,
understand that.
one was rebuilt to the main pool, rebuilt. The one that
Okay.
went down is rebuilt, so
Okay.
it's like new. It's rewired and they bake it.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
Okay, I
yeah.
see.
And then we purchased a new one. So
Okay.
yeah, we have two, and we'll have backups for the other two feature pools with this resolution. Yeah, I mean, if you don't approve it, we're just at a risk of being down because of shipping and locating the pumps that, it's kind of unique. It's not a standard thing. I mean, so.
Any other council comments? All right, all those in favor? All right. Awesome, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Resolution 160, 2025.
Authorizing the acting city manager to sign the Purdue Direct Settlement Participation and Release Agreement.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Or you want to talk about this, or are you involved in this? I don't know, either one of you.
You all have a short memo on that. There has been a settlement reached with the Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, which is, I've seen different figures, but around $7.4 billion paid out over, I think, 10 years. And we are a participating municipal entity, and they need our approval to be part of that settlement. That's a short explanation.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. All right, any comments, concerns, questions? All those in favor? All right, thank you very much.
Just a quick question. What happens with the settlement once it comes through? How does it show up in the city?
There's a formula for the sharing of funds, of the state of Maine, participating municipalities, and of course, there are 50 states involved in this. At some point, we get a check, is the way I believe it works.
Thank you.
What that amount is, there are all sorts of calculations that have to be made. But if we don't sign, we don't share.
But does the city have any plans for using any funds in particular?
Council Green.
Well, I was going to add, it goes into a reserve fund. The use of the funds are limited to support people with addiction and recovery.
Okay. All right, so moving on to Order 161, 2025.
Accept the donation from Prime Financial for the purchase of benches within the downtown.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay. With this, I will have Sean and Michael, please, you come, just kind of talk about this. Yeah, Sean, why don't you kick this off? I will allow you to do that.
Yeah, my name is Sean Packard, and I'm the owner of Red Claw Media. It's a Maine-based creative agency specializing in brand development and video production and strategic media support. I've worked with a range of businesses and organizations through the state to help elevate their brands and public presence and community support. I first met Michael through a mutual involvement in a local business and initiative. It was actually at a business after hours event. Over time, that connection obviously grew into a shared vision of storytelling and branding and strategy of how we could support the future of his organization. That eventually led to a professional relationship, and Prime Financial became a client of Red Claw Media. It's been a super privilege to get to know Michael and to see Prime Financial's renewed focus, both in the community engagement and his long-term growth. So I'll turn it over to Michael.
Well, before you do that, just so you're just not just this nice guy that's just walking around trying to get benches.
Sure,
right?
that's
so
true.
in addition to being this, you are also
Yeah, I do sit on, of the board of Discover Waterville.
Correct.
And so, and we're looking to, obviously, we've done a couple of different initiatives, and one of those was like a walkthrough essentially through Waterville to see where the need was from the town and different businesses in the area. And one of the big concerns was that there's not really a place for people to sit. And I think it's super important, obviously, for businesses in the local area, but also people for, well, not only tourism's sake, but just convenient to have places to sit and feel comfortable in the area. So through that, after we were talking, it was really cool that Michael and his business offered to be able to cover the fee for all those benches. So, yeah.
Which is, yeah, fantastic. So, so Discover Waterville is our Main Street affiliate program that they've been in existence for just a little over a year now. Their first big event was last October for the Nightmare on Main Street, which is coming back again this year on Saturday, October 25th. It's comprised of a lot of local businesses on Main Street, and we're starting to do a lot of good things, getting a lot of momentum, which is great. So with that, I will turn it over to Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you.
Michael Cleary, Waterville resident. And I just wanted to take a moment on behalf of the team at Prime Financial, and as a lifelong Mainer and business owner, and more importantly, a husband and father, that I'm proud to present this donation to the city. These benches might seem like a small gesture, but to me, they represent something bigger, a place to pause, connect, and be part of this community we all love. My family and I spend a lot of our time outdoors, whether it's walking around town or exploring the parks, and having a place to stop and to rest and just enjoy the moment is something we value and something we wanted to help create for others. This city's been incredibly supportive of our business, and this is one way we can give back. And so we hope that these benches become part of people's routines, their memories, and their conversations for years to come. And we thank you for letting us be part of something so simple but so lasting. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't say thank you enough. I know when, we had the Main Street walk through, and we took the notes and things like that. I know the benches was something that came up. And, as a group, I know we reached out to Matt to say, okay, great, what are our options, and what are we looking at for a cost? Because now we need to incorporate, some sort of fundraising mechanism and a way to kind of get that and what that was going to be. So to have that process, essentially eliminated with this donation is fantastic. And I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and I really appreciate it. And that's all that I have to say on that at this point. So thank you very much. I appreciate, the commitment to, not only the downtown, but to Waterville and you and the Prime Financial team. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to be part of downtown, right? We live out on West River Road, quite a ways out, so it's nice to be part of the community too, which is awesome. So, thank you.
Any other councilor comments?
Yeah, I just want, where are the benches going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah.
So the mayor put me in touch with Sean, and it was great. So it was super easy. It's a very generous gift. So did this go off, or is it still on? Still on?
Yeah, it's still on.
So we selected. I'll pass these out. There are 3 with backs and 3 without. Very high quality. I'd like to assemble a committee or a group to identify places that they would go best. So I think that shipping for these is 8 to 10 weeks. So we've got some time, but I would like to get some feedback from a small group of people, to identify some areas where they would look best. But I'll hand these out. These will really be a big improvement to downtown. So I thank you too. I think this is great, a great start.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Order. Okay. This is a 2-vote thing. Is this a 2 or 1 thing? This is a roll call?
This is the first reading, so it's just by show of
Okay,
hands.
sorry, thank you. All right, with that, all those in favor?
Very good.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right. And again, thank you. And then, okay, last item on our agenda tonight, ordinance 162, 2025.
Amend the taxation ordinance, Chapter 250, Section 250-2, quarterly due dates.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion with this? I know Patty kind of touched on this earlier. Essentially, what we're doing here is we're changing the date of the quarterly due dates for taxes. to be on a Thursday versus on a Friday. Any concern? Would that alleviate any issues? Okay. All those in favor? All right, wonderful. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved,
Thank you.
second.
All right.
She's excited.